Hello and welcome into another edition of The Recharge. I'm Ruben Gonzalez. That is Matthew Stanley. And we are in week 4, and we are also, as fans, coming after a loss. And last week it was against the Rams, 35-23 losers. We're the Chargers. And to me, Matthew, it was one of those games. It would have been nice if we won, but kind of going into the game, we didn't expect it. You know, if you were a true football fan, you kind of knew the Rams were a loaded team. But it would have been good. Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah, it would have been nice to come away with the win. But, yeah, like you said, the writing was on the wall for this one. I mean, the Rams are probably the best team in football right now. They have a solid defense. They have, especially up front, they have a ton of weapons on offense. And they're probably, at this point, like 1B for best coaching in the league behind Belichick and his staff. Sean McVay and his guys are just so good at what they do. And throughout the game, it was pretty obvious that their coaching staff was way better than the Chargers coaching staff.
Yeah, McVay is a genius, just like LeBron. Supposedly he has that photographic memory. And so I think he was well prepared for every opportunity, every moment. He knew what he was going to do. And you say once again, doesn't seem like the Chargers coaching staff was up to par. But luckily for them, this week, hopefully a different story. Well, let's talk about the defense. The defense, we thought would be one of the strengths. Hasn't been so at the start of the season. Of course, you want to say they took on the Kansas City Chiefs, took on the Rams, probably two best offenses in the league, notwithstanding the Chargers. So they got them out of the way, but you would still hope that they played a little better in those games.
Yeah, I think we're really seeing how badly this team misses Joey Bosa. He really is the cog that makes the whole machine of this defense work. When he's not in there, Melvin Ingram, he kind of disappears. He has been playing well, but he doesn't like make the splash plays that he does when Bosa's there. Bosa really has an impact on how the secondary plays because what we've seen this year is basically almost a meteoric crash in the play of Casey Hayward and Trevor Williams because they just played at such a high level last year, and then they're basically average to good this year, and it's because they don't have the help up front. Nobody's generating pressure on the Chargers front seven. They haven't gotten Nwosu in the game nearly enough, so it sucks about Bosa's injury, but this defense really misses him a lot.
And I think it's been a while, but we're also kind of maybe missing Jason Verrett, what he could have been. Nobody's talking about that. Certainly when he's healthy, he would have been providing some sort of, better play in the secondary as well. So also something to keep intact. But you brought up Bosa. An update this week, he finally spoke, and we also hear that Keenan Allen may be a little bit more injured than one suspected, but what's the update on those two guys?
So Bosa said that basically it kind of actually makes the team look bad. So when he got hurt again the second time, Anthony Lynn came out and said, no, the first injury was healed. This is a second different injury, but just in the same foot. Well, apparently that was a lie. Bosa came out and said yesterday that it's the same injury. He just re-aggravated it by coming back too early. And at this point, it's a wait and see game to see if he's actually going to need surgery or not to fix it because the doctor told him that the ligament is still loose in his foot, and that could require surgery to get fixed. And if it does require surgery, that's a season ender. So he's been in a cast for a couple of weeks to really immobilize that foot. Now he's in a walking boot to keep it as immobilized as possible, but start slowly putting back a little pressure on it. And he said yesterday that he's going to be out until at least the bye week, which is week 8.
Yeah.
And then at that point, they will decide if he can go in week 9. Now, the kind of good news is the stretch of games the Chargers have between now and the bye week is pretty weak. It's probably the weakest part of the Chargers schedule. And so you would hope that they won't need him over the next couple of games. So they're cautiously optimistic. Bosa said he doesn't think it's going to need surgery, but that's always still a possibility. As far as Keenan Allen goes, he hurt himself in the game. He was kind of limping near the end of the game. And kind of a scary similarity here is the team were using the same words to describe Keenan as they used to describe Bosa, that, oh, it's not a huge deal. We're just giving him some rest, and we're just being cautious with it. And he hasn't practiced at all this week. So I don't even know if Keenan's going to be a go this weekend. He was still just doing nothing today. So that's not good news. I hope his knee is okay, and I hope he's good for the rest of the season. But being the 49ers game this week and the 49ers playing the way they are, I'd almost be willing to say rest Keenan if it's going to mean he gets to play the rest of the season. But we haven't been given any info on what the injury is, other than on the injury report it was listed as a knee/tooth injury.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Well, the knee bone connected to the tooth bone, I believe, right? Somehow.
So hopefully he gets that cavity filled and he can come back.
Yeah. One thing I want to notice about this injury update is, through this whole time, nobody's called out Bosa. It's like Bosa's untouchable as far as fans, and I think that's because we all know exactly, hey, let him heal up, and he's off limits. Nobody can attack him, and if you heard what he said this week, he wants to be out there just as much as anybody else, and so he wants everyone to be patient with him, and he wants to be out there. And if you knew Joey Bosa, that's pretty evident. That's probably why he's untouchable. So let's talk about this week. The Chargers take on the Niners. No Garoppolo.
Yeah, so Jimmy Garoppolo, for those of you who somehow don't know, he tore his ACL late in the fourth quarter last week. When they were playing the Chiefs, he was trying to make a guy miss down on the sideline, planted his foot, tried to jump sideways, and that sideways motion is what'll get you. Tore his ACL, he's done for the year. So C.J. Beathard is the quarterback now, and he's not great. I didn't think Jimmy Garoppolo looked all that great last week either. I mean, the Chiefs defense isn't that great, and he completed 20 passes, and I think something like 14 of them were to the fullback, the running back, and the tight end. So it was a bunch of check downs. He didn't get comfortable. So C.J. Beathard is obviously even a step down below that. And it's just, they're not that good of a team. They have a good offensive line and a good defensive line, and that's pretty much where it ends. We are going to have to worry about their running backs. They've got a two-headed monster in Alfred Morris being that power back, and then Matt Breida is pretty explosive. I think until this week he was actually leading the league in rushing, but he's still in like the top 3. He had another 90 yards this weekend, so they're going to be something to look out for. But I mean, this is a extremely winnable game. Yeah,
Breida is the Niners' Austin Eckler, except he gets more chances. So the production is there for their running back. Let's talk about who will have a big game this week. Is it going to be the offense? It's going to be the defense.
I think the offense is going to have, especially in the passing game, I think, especially if Keenan Allen can't go, I think Mike Williams is going to continue his coming out party. I think he's going to put up a big game. Richard Sherman is hurt and he's going to be out, and their secondary is not very good. So unlike last week when the Chiefs lost their 2 top corners, when Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib, when they both went down, the Chargers, I don't think the Chargers took enough advantage of that. They should have been passing the ball over and over and over again and forced that defense. Yeah, it was weird. But hopefully they've figured that out and they do that this week, because the 49ers secondary is not very good. So I could see the wide receivers and Phillip Rivers having a big game. And then I could see the Chargers secondary maybe having a bounce back game, because they're going to have C.J. Beathard back there, probably not making the best throws.
Yeah. Let's see. Mike Dubb, plus or minus 1 touchdown.
I think I'd take the over on that this week. Especially with Keenan a possibility to not play. Mike Williams has probably been their most reliable wide receiver so far this season. I think Keenan's still good, but on the field, Mike Williams has been just doing crazy good things. I could see him definitely getting at least 1. It's probably going to be more this week.
Yeah, before the season, I had wondered. I said, I'm pretty sure Keenan Allen's numbers are going to go down just for the fact that we're going to see Mike Williams explode onto the scene. I think that's part of the reason why Keenan Allen's numbers are a little bit down, but it's a team effort, I suppose. I hope Keenan has that mentality. Would like to see Terrell Williams make some plays this year, and Travis Benjamin may play too. So just to have some weapons on the offensive side. Let's talk about the one matchup you're looking forward to.
I'd say I'm looking forward to seeing how the Chargers linebackers handle those checkdowns. So Jimmy Garoppolo did a lot last week, and bringing in a fresh backup quarterback, there's going to be a lot of those checkdowns again. I think George Kittle is going to be a constant target at tight end, and Matt Breida is going to be a target, and their fullback can actually he's a pretty good receiving threat. And the Chargers already, I think, have given up 2 touchdowns, 2 fullback receptions this season. So the Chargers linebackers are I would say that versus the checkdown group is going to be a really interesting one to watch.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. I'm interested to see how Eckler is going to be able to do against Reuben Foster. Hopefully, that kind of matchup. Maybe even Gordon. Gordon's going to get his touches, but I'd like to see Eckler solidify himself on this team. So we've come to the time to tell us what is our score prediction here. What do you got? Is it going to be a blowout for you?
I think so. I think the Chargers have a really good bounce back game this week. I see them probably putting up. They'll break 30 this week. I say they put up 34 points, and they're gonna make a couple mistakes. So I'll give the 49ers 16 points.
16. Okay, I think that's a fair assessment. I'm gonna go with probably something on the lines of 28-13. I don't think I want to see Mr. Caleb Sturgis on the field. So that's why I'm just giving 4 touchdowns. So that's it for me. Anything else you want to say this week about the team? Maybe about your podcast coming up as well?
Yeah, no, thanks for anybody who's tuning in to that show. And thanks everybody who's watching this show, obviously. And yeah, I think this next couple of games is going to be really good for the Chargers. They have the weakest schedule coming for the rest of the season, but especially the next couple games. And I'm getting excited for the England game. I'm flying out for that, so I'll be in England for that. So I was just planning the rest of that trip this weekend. So yeah, that'll be exciting.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for the week 4 of the Recharge. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you next week, and it's going to be after a win. 2-2, the Chargers. We're calling it here today. All right. See you guys next week.
Bye, guys.